This video is brought to you by CatBeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
Hey, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Today we got the performance review on the Nike LeBron 14. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So for using a translucent outsole setup such as this without a normal traction pattern, what I mean by normal is something like herringbone, something that's tried and true that you know that works. The traction on these guys wasn't half bad. I think that Nike actually upgraded their translucent rubber compound because these guys stuck to the floor more often than not. It still wasn't great, it wasn't perfect by any means, but it was not bad either. But one of the areas that was an actual problem was this digi camo pattern. It gripped well overall, but there are these small areas that have been cored out, and these are areas where dust will collect in rather quickly. So you're gonna have to make sure that you keep those areas clean, make sure that you keep wiping as often as possible. Otherwise it's gonna get filled up with debris and it's basically gonna be like a slip and slide on the bottom of your shoe. But again, the rubber compound that they use is actually very good. These and the PG1s, they actually have very similar traction as far as like how they work on court, with these guys being slightly better due to the pattern itself. But what I'm used to having in a Nike basketball shoe with clear rubber is just horrible traction overall. So this is definitely an upgrade. Again, like I said, it's not bad or anything, but I do believe if they would have went with something that actually is known to work as far as the actual pattern instead of taking a risk with the digi camo, I think that the traction would have been just that much better. Now, as far as cushion, hex zoom units return. However, this is the largest version of this setup that we've had so far. Each of these three pods right here are 14 millimeters thick. I know that that doesn't sound like a lot when you're just thinking about the actual number and it being in millimeters, but it actually is pretty damn thick for a cushion, especially a Zoom Air cushion. For those of you that actually remember or maybe even actually played in them, the Jordan Mellow M8s, those things had unbelievable cushion in there. They had two giant volume Zoom Air units, and at that time those were some of the biggest Zoom units we've ever seen, and those were 10 millimeters. So these being 14, it's just that much more awesome. Now, can you actually feel the zoom units? Sometimes. It's not like anything crazy. The issue here is that they're bottom loaded for one. For two, they're encased in the rubber outsole. And then lastly, your weight is pretty evenly distributed amongst all of these Zoom Air units because of the way that they are placed. They're kind of anatomically correct. So it's not like sitting on a full length bag where when you put all of your pressure on one area, you can kind of feel it dip a little bit. It's not like that. This is a much more stable setup. And then the heel area is pretty self-explanatory. This is just a massive Zoom Air unit. This thing is awesome, but like the forefoot, it is encased in rubber and it's bottom loaded, so you're not going to feel it really give too much. However, what this setup does offer is a ton of impact protection while still being able to maintain some sort of court feel. Now, while this isn't a perfect blend of court feel and cushion, it's very, very close, and if anything, this is made for a big guy, and this is kind of their version of court feel and cushion. So you're going to get all of the impact protection that you need, but you're not going to sacrifice any mobility. And because everything is bottom loaded and it's kind of firm under there while it's encased within the rubber itself, your reaction speed is going to be as good as it can be because you're not sinking into the cushion. Some players dislike mushy cushions, some players really love it. This guy right here is made for kind of like that in between, where it's not too mushy and it's not too firm. It's kind of like just right. Now, just as a side note, I absolutely love the outsole. This guy is super flexible, and that's something that they've been tinkering with since the LeBron 12 while they implemented the hex zoom in the LeBron line, or they've been coring out certain sections and things like that. The LeBron 13 was pretty well flexible as well, but this guy I feel is the best out of the three. And being a smaller guy like myself, I'm far from an NBA size athlete, and this is allowing me to get the most out of this type of cushion and a LeBron shoe in general, while still being able to feel like I can actually move around on the court. I don't feel like I'm restrictive or I'm wearing some super clunky shoe. So I really like that. I think that it feels great, and that's to me one of the highlights of this setup. Now, the materials is kind of where I start to like mentally confuse myself, because I overall really like the materials. They do their job, they fit great, it moves well with your foot, it's not restricting or anything like that, it's durable enough. But in my head, I know what these are made out of. They're made out of foam and mesh, and that doesn't equate to $175. The Zoom Generation Retro actually retailed for the same exact price, and those use a mostly leather build. So, you know, it's just, to me, it's a little bit jarring that the shoe built like this can be so expensive just because of a name attached to it. But, you know, it has nothing to do with the actual performance. It's just one of those little things where it does keep sticking out in my mind. That's the only reason why I bring it up, is 175 for this build. It just doesn't seem like really. But again, in terms of actual performance, this was a great setup. I love it. Again, much like the tooling, these guys don't feel restrictive. They don't feel clunky. They don't feel like a boot. For a LeBron shoe, this feels good. This is way better than the LeBron 13. I did not need to break in this upper whatsoever. It was good to go straight out the box. This material might be a little bit too flimsy for some, but for me it was just right. If you played in the Soldier 10s, it's exactly the same, so that's like the best thing that I can compare it to. Now, as far as fit, these guys right here, I personally went down half a size, and it's because of this weird one-piece construction. Normally with this thing, like the lancet, they wrap this around to build the actual shape of the shoe. It's not a one-size-fits-all type deal, and I did not want any dead space. So with there being no tongue, no real throat where you can cinch the shoe while you're lacing or tightening it up, it's real risky to having some dead space in a setup like this. And so I went down half a size. My toes are definitely right at the edge, but because everything is nice and soft, it's not like jamming my toes or anything like that. LeBron 9, anyone? Toe jamming on those was horrible. So for me personally, I would recommend going down half a size if you're looking for that snug one-to-one fit. Now, if you have a wide foot or high arches, things like that, then these going true to size, you should be good to go. Of course, the best thing to do is to try them on just to ensure that you're getting the correct size with the appropriate amount of space within the shoe. I just don't like dead space. I don't want to be moving around, especially with a material like this that is somewhat flimsy. So going down half a size for me just worked out perfectly. Now, with a setup like this, the lockdown was surprisingly good. The lacing system is only fly wire cables. Some people are not going to like that because of durability. For me, it just happened to work well, so I'm not going to complain about it. And then this strap right here does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's keeping that midfoot locked in and keeping the rest of your foot locked into this back rear section of the shoe itself. It worked beautifully. I absolutely loved it. So again, try them on if possible. Me personally, going down half a size gave me the fit that I love most, which is a secure one-to-one fit. Now, in terms of support, there is a couple of traditional features, which is right here in the back. You have an internal heel counter as well as this mini external heel counter. This one's just to reinforce lateral movements to ensure that you're not sliding off the footbed. Both of those things work perfectly. However, the lateral containment of the material itself as well as the build of the midsole definitely could have been upgraded. These guys here, like I said earlier, are a little bit soft, a little bit flimsy, and this fuse weld right here is supposed to keep that, you know, stretching down to a minimum so that you don't roll over the footbed. And there were times when sometimes I would stop so hard or try to change direction, push off the foot, and my foot would naturally just roll over the footbed. Now, this is normal for most shoes, but most of the time when something like that is happening, you sit in the midsole a little bit or the midsole is a little bit widened. This is not like that. This is very streamlined, and we're not seeing the giant outrigger that we did on the past two models for the LeBron line, where they were those big jagged outriggers. I think that if they would have kept that outrigger, it would have been great, because sometimes when I'm rolling over, this little area gets sucked underneath the shoe and I would tip over a little bit. It wouldn't happen regularly. I was trying to fix my footwork so that it wouldn't happen, but sometimes when you're moving as fast as you can and you just need to stop real quick, your first instinct is to put your foot out, and that's when that would happen, and it was kind of a bummer. So 4-foot lateral support and overall containment, I think, could have been definitely upgraded. Hopefully they do that with the Elite model. Everything from the midfoot back though, support was fantastic. So overall, the LeBron 14 definitely is not perfect, but no shoe is. But they are definitely a fun shoe to play in. Impact protection and overall mobility are the greatest features of the shoe. And again, traction wasn't bad, but it could have definitely been better. It will get the job done for sure. Just make sure to keep it clean. And then something that I hope that they fix with the Elite model, if there even is going to be one, is that 4-foot containment and lateral stability. I hope that they put an outrigger or do something with it, because that was a bummer. Also, one quick tip, this is something real stupid, but tie your laces double knotted, because these guys have really heavy aglets on the tips, and if you don't do that, they will untie themselves rapidly. So that pretty much takes care of it. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. I am very reluctant to say that this is the best LeBron shoe ever, but this is definitely one of the best LeBron shoes ever, in my opinion at least. Again, super fun to play in. Let me know what you guys think about them. Have you played in them already? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you need any more information, you can go to WearTesters.com. It'll include their price, their weight, their scores, plus some additional thoughts. Direct link is going to be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, guys, have a good one.